you know, well, I'm often startled by the absolute depths of depravity which religious people will happily sink to in pursuit of their agenda. And one example of this is the way that they will disguise their religious beliefs as science, right?
Aren't we all shocked?
Dress up their religious beliefs as science and then try to pass it off. And so I found this, this short article very interesting, and I hope you do too. This is by Amanda Gefter. As a book reviews editor at New Scientist magazine, I often come across so-called science books which, after a few pages, reveal themselves to be harboring ulterior motives. I have learned to recognize clues that the author is pushing a religious agenda. As creationists in the U.S. continue to lose court battles over attempts to have intelligent design taught as science in federally funded schools, their strategy has been forced to, well, evolve. That means ensuring that references to pseudoscientific concepts like ID are more heavily veiled. So I thought I'd share a few tips for spotting what may be religion in science's clothing. And I think this is useful not just to other science book review editors, but just people in the general public, like, you know, us.
Right.
Anytime you pick up a book, these are handy hints that would help you tell whether you're reading actual science or a cheap imitation.
I've noticed that even I sometimes fail to keep up with the lingo. I recently posted something that said, you know, creationism, or their new moniker, intelligent design, or their new moniker, teach the strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And then somebody corrected me, no, you're already behind the times. Now it's academic freedom.
Yes, that's true. Red flag number 1, the term scientific materialism. Materialism is most often used in these books and articles in contrast to something else, something non-material or supernatural. Proponents of ID frequently lament the scientific claim that humans are the product of purely material forces. At the same time, they never define how non-material forces might work. I have yet to find a definition that characterizes non-materialism in terms of what it is, rather than what it is not.
They're gun-shy now about defining it, because they used to do that.
Did they? How did they define it?
Well,
what did they define it
used
as?
to say God.
Oh, right.
And then they got smacked down in the 60s.
And then they'd have all the baggage of religion to explain those details.
Right.
Now, since they can't say God, they don't have any details.
Right.
Interesting. The invocation of Cartesian dualism, where the brain and mind are viewed as two distinct entities, one material and the other immaterial, is also a red flag. If an author describes the mind, or any biological system for that matter, as irreducibly complex, let the alarm bells ring.
You know, jumping to dualism still doesn't put it out of the realm of scientific inquiry. As I've been reading lately, even if there is some kind of soul-brain link somewhere, you can still identify sort of the connection on this end, you know, as if it's a couple of computers talking to each other over IP. You'd still want to know, like, you know, the brain still has some hardware. How fast is the connection and stuff like that? And why is it that when the brain breaks, the soul appears to, I mean, you know, the personality appears to be broken too?
Right. I mean, in a sense, if there's some stuff that some people are, if there is some stuff that certain people call supernatural, but it interacts with the material world, in a sense, it can't be supernatural. It's then part of the material system. It's connected.
In some way, yeah.
In some way. So I mean,
it's got a material component.
This
no
is
matter what.
Yeah, but you know, claiming that there is a non-physical or irreducibly complex thing going on is pretty much just a means of shutting down discussion.
Right.
So they can erect a wall between what we know and what they don't want us to be able to claim to know about. Misguided interpretations of quantum physics are another classic hallmark of pseudoscience.
Oh God, I hate that.
Usually of the New Age variety, but some religious groups are now appealing to aspects of quantum weirdness to account for free will. Beware, this is nonsense. Now, there actually, up until very recently, there was although I guess I should say, until very recently, it was still arguable. A theory to account for consciousness in terms of some quantum effect in the brain, having to do with microtubules. You know what I'm talking about?
Not
I think
really,
I think it's Dyson. Anyway,
Freeman Dyson.
Can't be Freeman Dyson.
No.
I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Anyway,
okay.
The point is, there was recently a study of the specific type of quantum effect that some scientists were legitimately proposing as a mechanism to explain consciousness in quantum deterministic terms.
Okay.
And the study revealed that the specific type of quantum event that they wanted to invoke required much higher temperatures than can exist in a human brain without killing you.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So that's it. Even the one example of a scientific. I want to call it scientific, and I don't want to call it anti. It's actual scientists proposing a thing, right? The one example of that involving quantum effects appears to have been now finally shot down.
Oh.
But I also want to comment, I think this author is behind the times. I wrote an article in my blog. Well, it wasn't a blog at that time. Back in like 2000, 2001, Time magazine ran an article called Science Finds God. Mm-hmm. And in that,
well, they always do that. It's like every few months some magazine will run something about the startling discovery that some scientists are religious.
But there was a report in there from a conference where it was theistic scientists, laying out all their excuses for how their religion could fit within the bounds of known science.
Right.
And one of the things in that article, this is like 8 or 9 years ago, was, there's quantum effects and we don't understand them well, so therefore that could be where God tinkers with stuff.
There's a really big gap that we can stuff our God in now.
So this is not all that new, as far as I'm concerned.